It's such a pleasure to be joining you right here on this very special edition on the Exit Polls, where we will get to analyze from the top experts on all the important 2016 mandate as polls come to a hotly contested state assembly elections and, of course, the Union Territory of Pondicherry as well. We've got Sagarika Ghosh, consulting editor at the Times of India, Prabhu Chawla, editorial director of the New Indian Express, and Mohan Das Pai, chairman of Arvind Capital Partners, joins us all the way from Bangalore. Thank you very much, each one of you, for being with us. And just before the numbers begin to come in, let's actually set the context and get the ball rolling as far as this election mandate is concerned. Mr. Chawla, if I may begin by talking to you about the state of states, these 4 states that went to elections, and of course the Union Territory of Pondicherry. Why is it that this is important? Why is it that we should all be watching out for the verdict that's coming out from India's states?
You see, importance lies because all the states are seeking re-mandate from the people of India, because people of their respective states, whether it's Assam, whether it's West Bengal, whether it's Kerala, whether it's Tamil Nadu, all the existing chief ministers are seeking the mandate once again. That's the first time it is happening. The 4 states are going seeking re-mandate at the same time. Number 2, after Modi rise at the national level, these are 4 states going first time for the polls. Because after Bihar, this is going to be the test for both Amit Shah and Modi as well. Because Assam is the only state where BJP hopes to win and score some kind of a decisive victory over others. So I say for both regional parties and also national leadership of the BJP, this election will send some kind of a trend for the future elections to come. So it is more important. It will be mandate partially on the regional leadership, also on the Congress party, because 2 of the states are governed by the Congress party. Assam is solely governed by the Congress party, and Kerala is also UDF. So it will be a vote for or against the mandate. It will be also expression of mandate in favor of Modi, because he decisively won in at least in Assam, if nowhere else. So Assam is the crucial state where it will prove both whether Congress party is still relevant or BJP is still relevant after the parliamentary election. That is the message that is likely to come out of these elections.
Fair point indeed. It is going to be time for both parties to go out there and smell the coffee. As far as the Congress is concerned, does this mean extinction of every kind from national politics, even at the levels of Assam and Kerala, where there have been strongholds of? And for the BJP, of course, it will be a test of the leadership at the national level after the Bihar fiasco. But Sagarika, let me bring this to you then. How crucial are these election mandate to the central leadership of the BJP? Unlike Bihar, the PM hasn't been the face of the campaign really. For the first time, they are picking up on regional leaders, whether it's Assam or whether it's other places. The Prime Minister is not driving the campaign. Whereas for the Congress party, and the question of the Congress is, do they stand a lot to lose? What if Assam and Kerala were to shift out of their strongholds?
Right. I agree with that, Supriya. I think there are 3 big political points that these elections represent. As you said, in Assam, it is a direct BJP-Congress face-off. It is a test to some extent of Narendra Modi, even though, as you rightly say, it's not a referendum on his prime ministership because he hasn't been the face of the campaign. But in many ways, it is a test of Mr. Amit Shah's election management skills, because let's face it, after 2014, there hasn't been a victory that Mr. Amit Shah can claim. There's been the fiasco in Bihar, there has been Delhi. Therefore, Assam assumes a very particular importance for Mr. Amit Shah's election management, particularly because it's a direct BJP-Congress face-off. The other big point about this election is, can the Congress left alliance in West Bengal actually pose a challenge to Mamata Banerjee? Because remember, this is an audacious alliance. It's an alliance of foes who are at loggerheads in Kerala, but they're allied in Bengal. So can they actually form any kind of opposition to Mamata Banerjee? And the third important point about these elections are, can the BJP emerge in Kerala as a spoiler? Remember, in the 2014 general elections, the BJP had a very impressive vote share in Kerala. And in fact, the Prime Minister has campaigned in Kerala, Amit Shah has campaigned in Kerala. So Kerala is where the BJP has put in a lot of effort, the ruling party has put in a lot of resources. So if the BJP emerges as a possible third front in Kerala and edges out the Congress there, because there is a feeling that the BJP will cut into the UDF, the Congress-led UDF, more than it will cut into the left-led LDF. In that case, we will see the BJP emerging as a possible spoiler party in Kerala. So I think the test of Amit Shah's leadership in Assam, the test of the Congress left alliance in West Bengal, and whether the BJP can emerge as a spoiler in Kerala, these are the three things that are important in these elections. And also, remember, the Rajya Sabha will be impacted by these elections. The election of the President of India is now coming up. That also will be impacted. In many ways, as Mr. Chawla pointed out, the atmospherics around the 2-year celebrations of Mr. Narendra Modi will be affected to some extent by the Assam result.
That's a very valid point that you're making there, that it is going to be a test at multiple levels, a test of the Congress, and that's an audacious alliance that you choose to call it, of the left and the Congress in the West Bengal, and of course head on the BJP and the Congress in Assam, and of course can the equations really change in Kerala. Mr. Pai, before I bring this to you, I have a very quick question to ask of Mr. Chawla, and that continues to be political. The audacious alliance that Sagarika referred to, whether it's the Congress party and left coming together in West Bengal, their hammer and tongs against each other in Kerala, it does tell a thing or two about how powerful the regional leaders in the country continue to be, whether it's Amma in Chennai or whether it's Didi in West Bengal. You know, they are the ones calling the shots. A Rahul Gandhi or a Narendra Modi in comparison are actually dwarfing before these two women. Okay, I think there seems to be I don't know if there's an issue with the line, but Mr. Chawla, that question was for you. Mr. Mohandas Pai, if I may come to you, and if I may ask you, what is the impact that these elections have at a national level? You know, the point has been made by both Sagarika and Mr. Chawla that, you know, at a local level and at multiple political levels, this is going to have ramifications. But what kind of an impact is this going to have on national politics or national economic decision making? Is India Inc. even bothered about these elections?
I don't think it will have a material impact on national politics or on economic policies. On national politics, barring a few seats in the Rajya Sabha, I don't think it will shift because everybody knows that Dravidian parties are dominant in Tamil Nadu. Everybody knows that it's a two-horse race with maybe the BJP being a spoiler in Kerala. Assam is a real issue. The BJP is coming up, but Assam is a very small state. And West Bengal is very clear. The battle is with Didi and the left and that. So, you know, the balance is already known. And both Jayalalitha and Didi are supporting the NDA government in many economic policy, not scope. The shift in economic policy has already happened. We've seen the shift happen after the Bihar elections around the time when the NDA government made a shift to pro-poor policies, giving larger subsidies, you know, accelerating programs for them in irrigation, in farmers' welfare, in farmers' insurance, etc., and getting a pro-poor tinge. I think the shift has already happened and the shift will only accelerate. I think there are too many local issues predominating the elections and we should not look at it as a national matter. I don't think it will have a material impact on economic policies. Yes, for the BJP is important because it's a part of the build-up to the 2019 election and part of what they feel is the people's response to them. But apart from that, I think at the national level, not very much, both economically and politically, and that's my view.
All right, not too much at the national and the political level, but Mr. Chawla, if I may ask you, you don't think this is going to have a material impact on national politics or national economy, so to say, if the BJP were to actually do well in Assam and if it were to open an account and be a spoiler of sorts in Kerala, won't that give it that added advantage here at the national level to push through the economic legislations that it wants to? And if Congress were to actually lose on both counts, how much of a political legitimacy does it have to continue to oppose? I want to ask you that question first and then take it to Sagarika.
You see, I agree with Mr. Pai. I don't think it will have any impact on economic policies of what the Modi government is following for the past 2 years. I won't call it there is a shift. The only thing is whatever Congress left unfinished, BJP has taken a faster, and they have been faster in implementing most of the decisions on economic reform. But it would have definitely impact on the national leadership, because Assam is a very prestigious issue. I don't think it is going to affect it so much on president's election, which is still 18 months away, where a lot of elections will be taking place before that. UP will be there, Uttarakhand will be there. But it definitely will have an impact on the credibility and the winnability factor of Modi and Shah duo, whether their organizational capacity and the appeal as a national leader, because Modi has campaigned in Kerala much heavily, because he was seen much more visible than Rahul Gandhi or Sonia Gandhi put together. 24 ministers of the union government were camping in Kerala for the past 1 month, one after another, and they were campaigning for the Kerala candidates. They may get more votes, but always, if you look at the election in Kerala for the last 20 years, they have been getting more votes in parliament, but less votes during the assembly elections. Because obviously these regional parties get much more votes when it comes to a local election. But if BJP gets more vote share, it is not going to impact anybody else. But what the BJP is trying to prove is that their acceptability in southern states is going up, whether it's Tamil Nadu, whether it's Kerala, whether it's Karnataka, whether it's Assam or West Bengal. West Bengal, I think they were not in the campaign so much, though I saw Rajnath Singh and everybody campaigning very heavily. About 100 meetings have been addressed by various union ministers in West Bengal as well. But they put their maximum foot forward, except those who were intellectuals in Delhi. They were not allowed to campaign in these states. But other ground level leaders, they were definitely there. So I would say, in terms of national economic policies, these elections will have no impact if they win Assam, because Rajya Sabha is far away from the majority in terms of BJP. Even if this Congress party is going to lose about 7 seats in the current election, which is going to happen in this month. But at the same time, other parties, they are going to get more seats, 10 more seats in these elections. So ultimately, anti-BJP parties are going to get more seats after these elections, rather than the pro-BJP parties getting it. Pro-BJP parties will go up to 70 MPs only, as against 67 now. So it won't have any kind of impact on the Rajya Sabha or any economic policy. Mr. Arun Jaitley has been talking about, we'll put it to vote. Let them put it to vote. He's been claiming that I will get the GST passed. He never got it passed. Because that is the problem which is happening, because unless the Congress party's conditions are accepted by the ruling party, GST will never be passed in the country, in spite of whatever we think and more corporate people think, because for them the only agenda in the country seems to be GST, as it is going to change the face of India. If the GST comes, India will become richer by 12% growth every year. That is not going to happen. And the Congress party, left, and everybody knows GST is not everything for the economic development. So there are no change in economic policies, only will be, it will impact the leadership of both the parties, Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Modi and Shah.
Fair point indeed. Sagarika, I wanted to come in on that, particularly talking about the Congress party, and one of the reasons, and I understand, I kind of agree with Mr. Chawla that GST is not a make or break legislation, even though much has been riding on it. But, you know, if the Congress were to lose Assam and Kerala, what political legitimacy do the Gandhis or the Congress party then have to oppose legislation in Parliament? Do they lose some of the moral legitimacy that comes from winning an election?
I think certainly so. I think the Congress party, if, for example, Mamata Banerjee wins very big in West Bengal, as some exit polls are saying she will, that certainly does weaken the Congress left opposition at the center. Again, in Kerala, if the UDF is defeated by the LDF, again, the Congress is on the back foot. And it looks as if in Assam as well, there the 15-year anti-incumbency is working. If it works against Mr. Gogoi, then there also the Congress will be defeated. But you know, I do want to say that at the moment, I don't think this is going to be seen as a referendum on how the Congress party will behave at the center, because however weakened they are in the states, their numbers in the Rajya Sabha will remain. So they will continue to block economic legislation. They will continue to block the GST. I think the window for economic reforms or for economic big ticket reforms, all of that is over. I think we're now looking at a very, very intense electoral agenda that is going to pan out before us. Next year we have Punjab, we have very important elections coming up in UP. We're looking at a packed electoral agenda all the way up to 2019. So the window for economic reform really was last year and it didn't happen. So as a result, I think now we're going to be back to left-oriented economics. We're going to be back to populist-oriented economics, which is seen by many politicians as the vote-catcher economics. So I think the window for economic legislation is probably over, but I don't see that the Congress will take defeats at the state level as a kind of national referendum on itself and climb down from an opposition position in Parliament. I don't see the Congress do that, because remember, the Congress is also spoiling for a fight now in UP. The Congress is spoiling for a fight in Punjab. The Congress is spoiling for a fight in Uttarakhand. So the Congress is also getting into fighting mode, and however badly they do, which they are probably going to do in these states, I think the fight will probably continue.
Fair point indeed. So the Congress doesn't lose political legitimacy and the moral legitimacy to go ahead there and still contest the economic decision making. But Mr. Pai, as someone who has skin in the game and who stands to lose or gain if reforms are passed, because you represent Indian industry here, at the end of the day, will you concede that reforms actually boil down not to political mandates but political will? The government did manage to do a few things that they did even after the Bihar debacle. So does it all boil down to political will versus political mandate eventually?
Look, we have a challenge in this country, and the challenge is that political power is at the bottom of the pyramid where the majority voters, and they're the ones who clearly exercise their franchise. Whereas the middle class and other classes which benefit from political reform are smaller, and many of them don't even go and vote. And that's the tragedy. So every government coming to power will, in the first 2 years, go ahead with economic reforms, and then they realize that they have to come back to power, and they'll go back and hand over goodies. And Modi has just done that. If Modi is able to execute on all the issues that is taken up in this budget, where he has taxed people on dividends, where he has increased the tax in many areas in service tax, and used the money for the bottom of the pyramid in agriculture, in irrigation, in health and education, as he has done, and executed well, he'll be on a stronger ticket. He has done it. But at the same time, we must give credit to the NDA that they've been doing all the right reforms. There's not anything much that people are asking for. GST is one of them. The bankruptcy code is all over. Maybe we need a public procurement law that has to be done. Tax terrorism has to come down, and Secretary Adya is just doing that. And there's some legacy issues that have to be done. The retro tax impact, I think, we have to get it away with, but that is a matter of courage for the finance minister. So a lot of things have been done. Made in India, Make in India has been done. Defense has been done. A lot of things have been done, and they execute all that well. We will see an upsurge in economic activity. So I don't think reforms are going to be hurt. Modi has made the right shift to poor policies earlier. He has to execute, and then we'll see a very different situation in 2019.
We'll see a different situation in 2019, but you're still conceding that some part of it is over. Now, official numbers are beginning to come out, and I'm given to understand ABP Ananda's poll is at least out for the state of West Bengal, and Mr. Chawla and Sagarika, I want to read out the numbers to you. What we are given to understand at this point in time is that on a state assembly where there is one nominated and 294 elected members, ABP Ananda is putting out TMC at 178, which is a loss of nearly 13 odd points from 191 previously. The left combined is 110. The BJP is only 1 and others are 5. So the left and the Congress last time was around 95. According to the ABP Ananda poll, that tally has gone up to 110. Sagarika, you want to come in on that, a state you've widely toured during these assembly elections? Mamata Banerjee making a comeback, perhaps not as stunning as 191, but remarkable indeed, 178.
She's made a comeback. I think a lot of this comeback is probably to do with the fact that rural Bengal, where I traveled extensively, is firmly behind Didi. Rural Bengal is showing Mamata to Didi. The urban areas, the Bhadralok, that is Greater Kolkata and South Bengal, there is where she may have lost seats. Remember, in 2011, she won 85 seats out of 180 seats out of 105 seats in South Bengal and Greater Kolkata, and But this time, that is a unbeatable record. So she may have lost seats in the urban pockets where the Bhadralok disenchantment with her is very, very high, and where the syndicate Raj, the retail corruption, the law and order issues, the intellectuals issues with freedom of speech, these issues are very high on the urban agenda. But rural Bengal, I think, is standing by Mamata Banerjee and giving her this comeback, which of course is a climb down from her earlier 230 seats, which she won in alliance with the Congress party. So she has lost considerably, but she's still ahead, and I think that is because of the kind of work that has happened in rural Bengal. There has been development, there has been roads, there have been schools, there is electricity, there is water supply. These things I saw with my own eyes. So certainly, you know, she has worked in the rural areas. I think if Mamata Banerjee had put an end to the retail corruption, to the retail law and order problems, to the day-to-day gundagardi that exists in urban areas in Bengal, she probably would have crossed 200. So I think the loss that she's facing is probably the loss in urban Bengal.
Fair point indeed. Mr. Chawla, come in on that. If Mamata Banerjee could have perhaps reined in retail corruption, she could have done very well in urban West Bengal as well, which she hasn't perhaps, and which is why she's ending up with 13 seats lower. But still, it is a remarkable mandate. I mean, from 191, she's come down to 178. But look at the Congress and the left combined. From a mere 95, they've actually just gone up to 110, which is a jump of about 15 odd seats there. So that's point number one. But point number two also is, if ABP Ananda and Mamata Banerjee's numbers are anything to go by, it does signify that, you know, both Mamata and Jaya, perhaps numbers will come in shortly. You know, it's about regional leaders at regional level. And, you know, Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, Sonia Gandhi are actually national players. And it's the regional leaders, the regional satraps who are actually calling the shots in all their states. Mamata Banerjee is just one example. Mr. Chawla.
You see 3 M's. Mamata, Mayawati, and you could look at Amma in that place. They are more powerful women. They are, because basically they have been working for the poor. But I won't give a judgment on the urban-rural vote unless the votes I know what kinds of votes have happened. Sagarika has gone there. I have also gone there, but I wouldn't get into that kind of speculation at the moment when it happened. I can only say she won 230 seats with Congress. She has won almost 195 seats, what are you saying, 178 seats without the Congress. It means Congress votes have come back to the Congress, which some Congress votes would have gone to the Mamata at that time when she was contesting that. So that's the loss of Congress votes which are happening there. So it is a roti kapda makan victory, because it is her cotton sari which has won her the votes. She doesn't care about the urban elitist class which are sitting in, sorry to say, some elitist colleges in Calcutta or whatever. Let us wait for the Calcutta votes. Basically, people of Bengal survived leftist government for 32 years. They can suffer her for another 20 years as well, because she is connecting with the poorest of the poor in that state. She has not lost her original personality. That she still walks in chapel, because people love that kind of heroines or heroes who love to be like an ordinary person, Aam Aadmi. People have voted for Mamata because she may be involved in corruption, or ministers are involved in corruption, but they have ignored the corruption part of it. And they have voted massively in her favor if the figures are correct. I don't want to get into that. Basically, what I am trying to say, that she is more powerful than anybody put together. And if the figures are correct, it's saying the BJP has not been able to cut into middle class votes in West Bengal. When the results come, we know much more about it. BJP was doing much better in West Bengal parliamentary polls. They polls quite heavily. It means if their vote share has gone up, which may have gone in favor of either Congress or gone up in favor of the Mamata. But I think it must have gone in favor of Congress. The BJP votes which they got in parliament may have been transferred to Congress and CPM, who didn't want to form Mamata. There is a shift from BJP votes if the votes figures are whatever. But the basic message out of West Bengal is that people want to vote for roti, kapada or makan and ordinary leadership, not the elitist leadership which shouts from the rooftop but doesn't deliver.
You know, another figure that's coming in, I agree with your point, another figure that's coming in is India Today Access, which is predicting a victory for the BJP in Assam. So while it hasn't been able to do well in West Bengal, it has done very well in Assam according to this exit poll. It's giving a range figure, so the Congress is going to be anywhere between 26 to 33, and that's going to be a steep fall from the present 68 seats that it has. BJP could end up anywhere between 79 to 93 odd seats. AIUDF is going to be between 6 to 10, others 1 to 4. So the BJP could actually go up from 6 odd seats to anything between 79 and 93. Sagarika.
So that's a BJP sweep in Assam then, Supriya. These figures are correct because we're then looking at a big result there for the BJP. I think this will be seen, if these results are correct, as certainly a vindication of the kind of course correction that perhaps party president Amit Shah undertook after the Bihar elections, in the sense that the national leadership was not played as much as they did in Bihar. You didn't see that much of Mr. Modi or Mr. Amit Shah. In fact, you saw local faces. You saw Sarbanda Sonowal projected as the CM face. You also saw Hemanta Sharma Biswal, who was the erstwhile Congress strategist, the sort of main Congress strongman of Assam, move over to the BJP with his formidable organizational skills. So the BJP has played a good election in Assam. It has also created that Mahagathbandhan with the Bodos, with the AGP, which has also consolidated Hindu votes. And also, interestingly, Supriya, this time in Assam, the BJP did not go in for that kind of polarizing rhetoric or the kind of the communally extremist rhetoric that perhaps earlier was seen as electoral tactics. So this time, the rhetoric was not that much in the extremist Hindutva mold. Also, I would like to say that there's perhaps been, if this is the result, if the Congress has shown this kind of a result, then there's probably been a split in the Muslim vote between the Congress and the AIUDF, because the Congress was very much hoping on a consolidation of the minority votes in its favor. Remember, Assam is 34% Muslim, and Congress was hoping that it would consolidate behind them. But if there has been that split in the Muslim vote, then of course the BJP has benefited, and the Mahagathbandhan in Assam has certainly benefited the BJP. So the defeat of Tarun Gogoi, I think, in some ways is a natural outcome of 15 years he has been in power. He inherited an Assam which was destabilized. It was on the verge of conflict. He did stabilize it. He did manage to give it some governance. The ULFA was neutralized. So Tarun Gogoi has done his bit. But I think after 15 years, it's time for Mr. Gogoi to also fade into the sunset and allow a newer leadership to emerge in Assam.
Right.
And if this has happened, then I think it would show that the BJP has fought a good election there in Assam.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the 80-year-old Tarun Gogoi, whose age the Prime Minister kept referring to, perhaps needs to go back home. But Mohandas Pai, I'm going to come to you in just a moment from now, because the C voter numbers are also out for West Bengal. A little less gracious for Didi, because it's 167 according to the C voter, 75 for the CPM, 45 for the Congress. Of course, there are 7 others. So according to the C voter survey, the left could go up from a 60 to a 75, and the Congress could go up from a 35 to a 45. So Didi actually drops down far more sharply in the C voter survey by about 24 odd points than she did in ABP Ananda. But we're going to get more details and analyze that further. Mr. Pai, if I may actually ask you the very valid question, and the question is that, you know, Prime Minister Modi has consistently spoken about cooperative federalism. But if you actually see what's happening in Parliament, there doesn't seem to be much headway of sorts. For instance, Jaya Lalita was a known Modi, was a known BJP sympathizer. And they have not really made much headway on decision-making, on big reforms, on big legislation. Do you believe the government has failed to kind of walk the talk on cooperative federalism? They could have won over so many people that they perhaps chose not to in the Rajya Sabha at least?
Yes, I think they could have done much better in Parliament, both in the lower house and upper house, because some of the states have issues. For example, West Bengal has a huge debt. They wanted debt restructuring. It has not been done. I think the government should have done it, because the last time the Communist Party said they don't want the debt restructuring. And Tamil Nadu had some infrastructure needs, and I think they should have been more sensitive to that. I think they should invest more money and more time on cooperative federalism, because that's the solution. We can no longer have a country which is driven from Delhi. It doesn't work anymore. The last 60 years have been a disaster for the people of this country, because the states have been disempowered. The states don't have resources. The states are closest to people, and centralizing money and power in Delhi does not work. Now the 14th Finance Commission has given 42% to the state. That's very good. The money is begin to flow in. I think many more things need to be done for the states. Gadkari is doing a fantastic job. Suresh Prabhu is doing a great job. Piyush Goyal is doing a great job. Like that, most other ministers have to come and give the state many of the small things that they want. And I think Prime Minister Modi is now talking to each of the chief minister on drought, which is very, very good. Little more care has to be taken to show a different kind of a image, and that will work. I think it's time for a change to make it work. But I like the philosophy. At least there's a philosophy of cooperative federalism, which was not there earlier, and they've done a little bit of work. I would give them 50 out of 100 in cooperative federalism. They should probably go to 70 or 80 by 2019.
All right, just hang on there, because I don't know if Prabhu Chawla really agrees with the fact that they are doing stuff of cooperative federalism. I see you smiling, and so the question comes your way. Is there a missed opportunity? Is this hollow talk about cooperative federalism? They haven't been able to reach out to a natural ally like a Jayalalitha in Parliament.
No, I'm laughing because Mr. Pai was contradicting himself, because he was saying they should have given more finances to the states. They have not given it. I'll give 50. Then he says, I'm very optimistic. We're all optimistic anyway. But the question is, there has been confrontation in politics. You have not seen peace around in this country for the past 2 years. Everybody has been each other's throat in the parliament, outside the parliament. So there has not been any spirit of cooperative federalism when it comes to meeting together. There has been some kind of, you had got the Niti Ayog, where chief minister met earlier. There was some kind of very pleasant atmosphere. They're sitting in the garden in RCR and talking to each other in a very friendly atmosphere. What happened to that? Nothing happened after that. How many times the chief minister has come, because he has been talking to them on drought, because Modi himself is very serious. But something what happened is the prime minister of the country cannot be doing everything himself. Every micromanagement prime minister is not expected to do. He has been let down by his own team. Whatever you say, people may talk about it, the fiscal management of the country. 48% of the revenue has gone up by indirect taxation. How? Because of service tax, because of the import duty. There is no manufacturing growth, there is no employment growth, nothing is happening on the ground. States are starving, they are unemployment, they can't pay their dues to their power companies who are asking for money, they can't pay for coal. So if you have been able to get a revenue of 48% increase because putting more taxation on you and me, that is not what you call. The states are suffering, the center is also suffering, because even after increasing so much of revenue by 18%, you are cutting down on all the social sectors. So where will the employment come? So basically, this is what the Mamata and left is taking advantage of, because the social sector of the country is suffering very hard. Money is not being given because you are believing in kind of a accountancy of the national exchequer, a balance sheet. I have got this much money, I will spend this much of money. There have not been any innovative ways of raising revenues. I don't know any one system where you have got innovative way of getting revenue. You are putting excise duty on petroleum products, which is the easy way of collecting money. You are putting cess on education, which is the educated way of collecting money. Tell me, where will the government of India will get the money? They are getting the money, but not paying to the states. States have been deprived of the revenue which they can collect. It is happening at the central level, an easy way of collecting the money. For the past 2 years, I have seen no fiscal management is done properly, and the country is losing out, and therefore the states are also suffering. States will be becoming poorer for the next 2 years if they are not proper given financial power to raise their own resources. Let the states raise their own resources. Why? You got 42%, this one Mr. Pai was saying 32%, I think it's 42% now. They have merged all the other taxes which are coming in the central scheme. So therefore, it has to be genuine cooperative federalism, which involves also economic decentralization of collecting revenue, which is not happening at the moment.
All right, Sagarika, coming on that, I just want to take it back to politics because more numbers are coming in right now. And like we've pointed out, the C voter exit poll and ABP Ananda are both putting Mamata Banerjee in the driver's seat, albeit, of course, C voter says 167 and West Bengal says 178. The question really is, if I were to ask you, does this also signify a lack of opposition, or is there actually faith in Mamata there?
Well, Supriya, if you look at the C voter poll, which I think you were telling me is 75 and 45 for the left and Congress, is that right? That's right. That's 120 there for the left and Congress. So that's a good result for the left and Congress alliance. If that is the result that they're showing, because this would show that the left Congress alliance is actually doing well. It is working far better than it was expected to. It's got more than 110 according to this exit poll, which means that CPM and Congress votes are getting transferred, which means that the alliance is working on the ground and probably becoming a threat to Mamata. And if Trinamool has actually come down to 160, then that is a very, very narrow margin by which Mamata Banerjee is winning. So I think we really have to look at this, because of course the picture is by no means clear, and we have to see how it emerges as of course the evening pans out and more polls start coming in, and of course the final results. But I would say that if this forecast is true, then the left Congress alliance is probably working better than expected, and the Trinamool is probably coming down, as I said, for many factors, particularly the loss perhaps, as I sensed, in urban Bengal. But just to come back to the point of cooperative federalism, I also believe that the politics of confrontation that we keep seeing in Parliament, the kind of events that have happened in Uttarakhand, the kind of events that have happened in Arunachal Pradesh, these are not designed to foster confidence in state governments. And as you rightly say, we're now looking at very powerful state satraps, whether it's an emergence of the Jayalalitha or Mamata Banerjee or in Kerala. So we're looking at powerful state leaders, and we're not looking at a situation where the central government or the ruling party is actually reaching out or building bridges with parties, with the Congress opposition, to create any kind of politics of consensus. Instead, we have pugilism, we have grandstanding, we have a kind of parliamentary tutu meme going on all the time, which is really not conducive, I would say, to any form of cooperative federalism. So I think at the same time, as these results come in, even if Mamata Banerjee comes down, she still emerges as a very important state satrap. She is now in her second term. She's won big. She will win big, possibly in the rural areas of Bengal. So the state leaders are not going to be easy to write off. The same can be said about Jayalalitha. We still don't know what the Tamil Nadu result is there, of course. But as I say, we're looking at a situation, at a context in which we have powerful female chief ministers. By 2017, we could have 4 female chief ministers. But is there an impact on women? I think zero. Zero impact on women, even though we might have 4 female chief ministers by 2017, if we include Mayawati. But if that happens. But as I say, I think that the politics of the centre leaves us all disappointed, and cooperative federalism cannot happen with the politics of confrontation that we increasingly see at the centre. But I think the West Bengal result is very, very interesting,
right,
because if this is the result, then it really does show that the Congress will now interpret this as a victory, you see. This will be a shot in the arm for Rahul Gandhi and Sitaram Yechuri, because they will say that we got it right. They will say we actually did the right thing by allying, because look at it, our votes are getting transferred. Because, the feeling in Bengal was which Congress voter will vote for the CPM. Because you can't vote for a party which for 30 years has beaten you up, has dragged you around, has trashed you and killed you. Which Congress voter is going to vote for the left? But now, if this is the result, then it means that the votes are getting transferred and that the alliance is working. So if this alliance works and if it gets 120 seats, then Rahul Gandhi and Sitaram Yechuri will interpret as a victory.
Fair point indeed, and 120 for them will actually mean a jump of nearly 25 odd seats if you combine the left that had 60 in the last time and Congress that had 35. But Mr. Pai, I want to come back to the point that both Mr. Chawla and Sagarika were making there on cooperative federalism. The larger point that I want to make right now is that do you believe the legislative logjam that we have seen in Parliament or the fact that there is political grandstanding on both sides, yes, you're going to blame the opposition for being obstructionist. Has the government reached out enough is really the big question. And as people who are stakeholders in the Indian economy, in the India growth story, do you believe has enough effort been made by stakeholders in policy making to reach out to the opposition benches, to reach out to the regional satraps?
I don't think the government has made adequate efforts to reach out to the opposition to get them on board in many areas, because many of the references in Parliament to the leader of the opposition, leader of the Congress, is not required, because you know how emotionally all the congressmen will react or will be forced to react. That is a known thing. And to go on naming the person every time something happens is not going to put you in the books whatever happens. But the larger issue which we need to understand is India is in the throes of an ideological fight for the soul of India, but in the left of center and the right. And the Congress knows very clearly if the Modi government succeeds, economic growth comes, employment comes in, the poor see a better deal which could happen, then they're not going to come to power in 2019. So they have to disrupt, they have to stop Parliament, they have to stop GST, they have to stop the passage of laws to the greatest extent possible, they have to retard, they have to do everything to pull the Modi government down, like the BJP did to the Congress in the last 3 years of UPA 2. If they don't do that in 2019, the Congress is not going to be there, because they will not have the financial resources, they will not have the ability to stand up for everybody, because they become irrelevant. They already become irrelevant in this Parliament, and they could get worse. So I think the ideological fight, and what Sagarika said, all these things about, the church things, intolerance, debate, it's an ideological fight. There is no truth behind it. Maybe a little bit of truth. They're all blown up to create an image. The NDA government is communal. The NDA government is against minorities. Against this, we've not seen any laws against minorities. We've not seen any laws for intolerance, except some utterances which have been happening for 20 years. So these are all the creations of a part of the media and the left of center intelligentsia in this country and the Congress party to defame this country and everything else, and this is not going to go away. So I think for next 3 years we're going to see more of this. So the government has to be much more proactive to get some things passed, to get what it wants and execute better on the ground. But I think we're going to see more of this, so let's be very careful.
All right, so we are going to see more of this. But Mr. Chawla, as somebody who has been an economist by training, maybe not by profession, do you believe eventually everything boils down to the left-leaning economy and to the right economy that the BJP propagates?
You see, these are artificial ideological differences which are being created. For me, the left, if you are talking about poor for water for the poor, health care for the poor, and employment for the poor, that is not left. That is welfare economics. That is what the economics is all about. When you talk about only giving corporate GST, that is right economist, because GST is more important than getting water to the poor. Even after 65 years, you have to carry water trains from one state to another. That is shame of India. Even after this, you have got about 12% unemployment in this country, which is known 12% unemployment in this country. You have got health, which is the poorest in the world at this moment, 65. Why are you not talking about this? Because you are getting corporate hospitals, you are getting 5-star hotels built up in this state, but there is no room, there is no toilet in most of the villages in India. You are talking about electricity. Mr. Piyush Goyal is taking credit for providing electricity wherever. In 1975, during the emergency, one of the 20-point program was that providing electricity to every village. It has never happened since then. 40 years later, we are still without electricity in the villages. If you are talking about these things, you call it left. Sorry, I am also a leftist that way. We must spend our resources according to the population which is proportionate to that. If 75% of the people are below, say, $1,000 a year, 75% of the revenue must go there. That's why the question I raised in the beginning, how are you raising your resources? The revenue of the central government of India and the state is not coming from the richer people. There is no capital gains tax in this country. The revenue is coming from the petrol. For example, petroleum product, how much is consumed by the poor people, in the middle class people, is coming from them. If the petroleum prices have come down by 70%, why still the same value is being paid by the ordinary people? I am talking about, if this is left economy, yes, it is left economy. But we must talk in terms of practical economy, where poor and middle class people must get what they deserve. But what we are looking at is, okay, Startup India, Digital India. Digital India is okay, good idea. Modi always thinks ahead of the times. He is a development man, he is a faster man, he is walking very fast. But he must look at the ground level. He is talking about toilets, yes, a good idea. But we have done a survey. Most of the toilets which were built by MP's fund are non-functional in most of the villages. There is no follow-up. Mr. Suresh Prabhu is tweeting every day about what app he has developed. One app means how much multinational people money will make. But he doesn't talk about where people are dying without any gates on the railway tracks. 200, 300 people died every month on the railway tracks. But he doesn't talk about that. If that is left economy, yes, I am left economy. You are talking about cleaning the railway station. Look at the railway stations which are in the rural areas. We have done a survey recently. About 70% of rural stations or semi-urban stations are as filthy as they were 50 years ago. But we are talking only elitist discourse on economic policies or politics is not going to decide that. We are always busy in elitist discourse.
Fair point indeed. Left of economy is actually welfare economics, and it's time we make our peace with it. I completely get your point, and I can't agree with you more on that. But Sagarika, there's another story that's unfolding, and I think we'll have to go back and visit that story. And that story is actually coming in from Assam. We spoke about one poll earlier, that was the India Today Axis poll. We now have the ABP Ananda poll, and what a stunning victory it seems to be predicting for the BJP. From 6 odd seats in the state of Assam, they say it could go up to 81. The Congress could relegate to just 33 from 68, and the AIUDF could go down from 18 to 10. The BJP does seem to have made a mark in Assam for all practical purpose here. 2 exit polls, and they're both putting them absolutely in the driver's seat. Sagarika.
I think that's probably clear that the BJP is heading for a big win in Assam, if these polls are any indication. Remember, exit polls, health warning, statutory warning, they are often wrong. They could be wrong. We know what happened in Bihar. We know what happened in Delhi. So there is a statutory warning, but in fact, we have to establish that if these polls are right, then in fact the BJP, yes, is going in for a big win, and I think it's a credit to how they have fought this election, because as I said before, they seem to have learned the lessons of Bihar, not done what they did in Bihar, played the local leadership, played down communal rhetoric, and perhaps they're reaping the benefits of that. I also want to say just one point about Mr. Mohandas Pai's view on the left, and he's saying the leftist intellectuals keep talking about intolerance, but his party, the BJP, has taken a sharp left turn on economics. So the BJP, I've always believed under Mr. Modi, is now a leftist party. How is it even a right-wing party? It's not a pro-business party. It's not a making India safe for business party. It's actually a leftist party. So Mr. Modi has turned sharply left. Mr. Pai had better therefore embrace leftist economics also.
Mr. Pai, you want to come in on that? The Prime Minister and his men seem to have turned sharply left after the verdict that came in from Bihar. I want to come to you just in a bit, but I want to get a reaction from Mr. Pai there.
No, look, the fact of the matter is what Prabhu Chawla told us. After 67 years of freedom, if people don't have... Yeah, tell me.
Carry on.
Yes. Okay, after 67, I agree with Prabhu Chawla, after 67 years of freedom, if women die in childbirth for want of medical care, 30% of children are malnourished, there is no water, there is no power, diarrhea is a miserable country. We have failed as a country, and we must set it right. And I believe the NDA government is setting it right, because they have realized to come to power, the bottom 60-70% should get the bare necessity of life. You have to put your money. But I feel the problem with India is not want of money. There has been money for the last 10 years, but want of execution and corruption at the grassroots level. Enormous amount of money has been pumped in. The data is very clear, but there is no effect on the ground because there is a transmission loss and is eaten away. If Modi is able to do that, make sure it works on the ground, people get power, roads, education, I think we'll see a very changed country. And I'm totally with you that Modi has shifted left in the sense he's doing welfare economics, focusing on poor people, and that's the right thing to do. There is no debate about it, no two opinions. We have to take care of the basic needs of a people, and we're already 60 years too late. On that, I totally agree with all of you. But the point I'm trying to make is we have a class of people who are now defaming India on many issues, not germane, which are not true, like we've seen in JNU, and blowing things up and defaming us globally. And that, I think, is an ideological fight for the soul of India. But I support Modi still to the left, not left, welfare economics. I'm totally with Prabhu Chawla on this.
I'm actually now beginning to doubt what is the soul of India, because the soul of India could perhaps be very different from two people from two different ideologies. But Mr. Chawla, because you ignited the whole debate on welfare versus leftist economics, and of course Sagarika took it even forward with Modi turning a leftist before he was a right-wing economist. My question to you really is that these are just semantics we are getting lost in. This is and this is some sort of a double speak here. The same things were being called populist measures in the previous regime, and now it is developmental, it is welfare economics.
No, I would rather say that
Mr.
I know
Chawla.
Modi for 35 years personally. By DNA, he is a lefty. And yeah, I'm telling you, I know Mr. Modi for last 35 years when he was not a big leader and I was a teacher in a college.
The Sangh Parivar's economics
we know
is
each other
deeply
very
leftist.
well. And I wrote a column last year. So I was the economic teacher, and my teacher was and one of those were Sukhmay Chakravarti, Amartya Sen. They are all left economists anyway. And Dr. Manmohan Singh was also my teacher, and he was leftist at that time. He became a rightist later on. People change their economics also according to the time circumstances. That's a different issue altogether. By going by Modi, I wrote a column about after the 6 months when he was in power. I called him the nationalist leftist. So he is a leftist by DNA. But he is surrounded by 1 or 2 or 3 ministers who are rightist. So DNA of these rightist ministers and left ministers is not happening there. Therefore, there is some kind of a conflict between the nationalist Modi and the rightist ministers. Therefore, the whole allocation is not happening. Look at the ORP, what happened, the defense minister and finance minister not willing to give it, and while he was giving to give it the money. The question arises very clearly because there is a government within the government. There are people in the BJP who are extreme right. There are people in the BJP who are just right, and there are people in the BJP like Modi who are left of the right. Therefore, this is a mix which is happening. Modi government is still under construction. It is not the full Modi government yet when it comes to economics, because there are many counter pressures working from within. For example, black money. He promised a lot, and I believe that he believes in it. But black money has not come into India because there is not proper action being taken by others who are supposed to bring black money into the country. Not even 500 crores have come, 5,000 crores have come. Not big names have been declared. If he made 15 lakh rupees black money per person will be coming, because he knew it is correct and he wants to bring it. He means it. Whatever he promised in terms of correcting the balance in the economy, which is right-wing economy, Mr. Manmohan Singh converted in 10 years they were in the scam they were caught, but in terms of economic growth they were doing much better. In 10 years they did better, first 5 years they did better because Vajpayee government has laid the foundation for good economic, and Mr. Manmohan Singh reaped the harvest during the first 5 years, and next 5 years he got in the scam. So a leftist prime minister now who believes in nationalism is better if he implements it what he means, because when it comes to economics, he is a leftist. When it comes to thinking in terms of ideology, he is a nationalist because he thinks nation means Bharat, Bharat Mata ki jai, Gau ki jai, everything. He means that because he believes in that. So there is some kind of thing happening with the BJP. If it is a Modi government in right earnest, I think they will do much better if he gets rid of the people who don't believe his in ideology and his style of working. He has to get rid of them. Modi's challenge is going to be now, after if he wins Assam, which will be because he floated a local leader who is seen as a younger person, half the age of the current chief minister. Therefore, I think Modi has to keep his team in place and promote regional leaders, and he will do much better in the future.
Fair point indeed. Sagarika, do you think this lesson was learnt after Bihar? The Prime Minister was not the face of the campaign. The face of the campaign were regional leaders. They took that gamble, and it looks like the gamble has indeed paid off, at least in a state like Assam. But the larger point that you were making, and I want to touch upon both the points with you, he's culturally right, but economically left. Do you agree with that?
That's right. I think Bhagavat is winning over Bhagavati. You know, the whole sort of Bhagavati versus Amartya Sen debate that was supposed to be the narrative, that Amartya Sen was the UPA and populist handouts and Manrega and Karza Maafi and loan waiver and filling the coffers of the poor, and Bhagwati was going to be the leading light of the NDA government, which is fiscal prudence and trade and labor reform and insurance reform and all of those sexy reforms that the pink papers love. The fact is that's not happening. The fact is that Bhagavat, as has been said, is winning over Bhagavati. So you have the nationalist, populist economics of the Sangh Parivar winning over the so-called Bhagavati agenda, and the right-wing nature of the BJP is really in culture. Mr. Mohandas Pai might be upset about mentioning the word JNU, but the fact is that the manner in which the events are playing out in the JNU, or with what happened at Dadri, or with what happened to the artists, or what's happening to various communal issues across the country, there is where we are seeing a culturally right-wing agenda. On economics, we don't have Bhagavati, we have Bhagavat. So, therefore, I don't think the BJP government, the NDA government under Mr. Modi can be called right-wing by any stretch of imagination. This is not Thatcher, this is not Reagan, this is not a kind of a business-enabling government that would be beloved of Mr. Mohandas Pai. This is a welfareist government which is following faithfully the UPA's policies. They're doing Manrega, they've stepped up Manrega, they are doing Swachh Bharat, which is a continuation of Nirmal Bharat, they're doing financial inclusion, they're doing pro-poor measures, they're doing Jan Dhan Yojana. So in that case, really we're seeing a continuum of economic policy. We're not really seeing any kind of break. We saw the Niti Aayog being renamed, but after being renamed, what is it doing? We really don't know what the Niti Aayog does. I mean, it doesn't have the money to actually give the states.
Can I make a statement?
So, I mean, I just want to say one point.
I want to get you into this
report. Can I make a statement, please?
Sagarika, I'm going to intervene there because we're running short on time. Then Mohandas Pai, you can make your point right away.
Let me say this.
Yes.
Yeah, let me say it very clearly for everybody. I'm a capitalist in action and the socialist at heart. I mean, we run the largest midday meal program in the world and I give substantial money. So let me make it clear. And I'm not I'm not a party man I don't support any political party. I support the right politics. So I don't like this labeling by Sagarika or anybody else. And let's get one thing straight. We are a poor country. We have to take care of the poor. We have to take care of the basic necessity of life. That's the first duty of any government that comes to power. And any government which ignores the poor will be thrown out of politics. And what Prabhu Chawla said is, Narendra Modi, in my opinion, has got the right combination. He's got the right combination. He's a nationalist at heart, looking after the country's interest. At the same time, he is taking care of the poor people and doing many, many programs for the poor because he wants the poor to come up. And that's what all of us support. He's also done insurance reform. He's done all the reform Bhagwati wanted or whoever wanted, and he's done that because he believes that wealth has to be created under the right policy. He has not stopped business from growing, except he's taken care of the cronies and put them in the corner, and he's going after the crony capitalists, which is very, very good. We need clear politics, we need honest politics, we don't need corruption, and that's what he has done. So we all support good policies. And let's be very, very clear. All business people want this country to go and the poor not to be poor. Let's be very clear. Nobody wants to prosper at the cost of power. Nobody supports crony capitalism.
That I don't agree. That I don't agree. All businessmen want India to be rich, poor to be richer. I don't agree with that.
On that very disagreement,
because they don't want to pay. Because they don't want to pay taxes.
Mr. Chawla,
I think Mr. Mohandas Pai is painting a very
Prabhuji, all the good
picture
people,
over there. I don't
all
think
the good businessmen, the bad businessmen are not the country.
No, what is good and bad is a matter of good and bad is a matter of definition.
Why don't you pay capital gains tax? Why? No, I want to know what is that from 15 years, 91 to 215. Why all the rich people? Why all the rich people?
Capital gains tax raises the cost of capital in a very poor country. There's an economic rationale for that, please. Yes.
My dear.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'll have to come in there and I will have to intervene. I've completely run out of time here. I'm very glad that the panel is disagreeing. It does tell you a thing about about Indian democracy. But for now, we're going to keep it with election results as and when they come in. For now, of course, the exit poll seems to be giving the BJP clear advantage in Assam. Mamata in the driver's seat in West Bengal, but having lost some of that sheen that she scored last time around. Tamil Nadu numbers are still not out, and we're going to connect with all our people here, right here on ET Now. Thank you very much, Sagarika, Mr. Chawla, and of course, Mr. Mohandas Pai for joining us.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.